So, Gervonta Davis recently made the claim that boxing is dead in a recent press conference for his upcoming fight against Jake Paul on Netflix. And it got me thinking that I don't think boxing is dead. I think boxing is in a really good space. But then I'm thinking maybe boxing is dying. And boxing may be dying because of Gervonta Davis. And when you have careers like Gervonta Davis's career, that is the sort of thing that kills boxing. Because ultimately, if we're being honest and we call a spade, for 99% of Gervonta Davis's career, his matches have been sort of cherry picked. If we're being honest, okay, granted, early on in his career, that's what happens anyway. That happens with all these prospects. All of their early fights are cherry picked. Then he gets to 130, and okay, I'll even give you the benefit of doubt for 130 because yes, 130 wasn't a super stacked division. But then he starts campaigning at 135. And Gervonta Davis has been at 135 for a while now. And he's been a world champion for quite some time at 135. He has fought none of the top guys at 135. Nobody. The closest you could get would be Pitbull. Granted, he beat Pitbull. But even Pitbull's he's not on the level of the real top guys at 135. In terms of your Lomachenkos, your Keyshawn Davises, your Shakur Stevensons, your Teofimo Lopez's at the time. All these guys. These are all big names in the lightweight division. He fought none of them. He fought a 130-pound fighter, Lamont Roach. Couldn't even beat him. And Lamont Roach has gone from 130, fought Gervonta Davis at 135, and is now fighting at 140 against Pitbull. And Lamont Roach will thoroughly outbox him. But it sort of even takes me back to a Paulie Malignaggi vid on boxing, whatever that channel's called that he's on with Jimmy Smith and all these guys. And he was really ripping into Gervonta Davis. And at the time I was thinking, that's a bit harsh. It's a bit harsh. I think always because I always treated Gervonta like he was still a young prospect. And I'm thinking, sure, okay, he's not fought the top guys at 135 yet, but he will. But then it gets to a point where you're like, bro, you've been world champion for years. And there's not even talks of you having a big unification bout with one of these top names at lightweight. It seems like you want no parts of it. And whether that's Gervonta Davis or whether that's his management, but ultimately I think we know what the outcome would be. Because if Lamont Roach can outbox you, Teofimo can outbox you, Shakur can outbox you, Keyshawn Davis can outbox you, and Lomachenko can outbox you. No diss to Lamont Roach. Lamont Roach is a very good boxer. Very, very good boxer. But when he gives you your best fight, and it's a draw, and yet you had your moments, it wasn't a complete shutout. Because Gervonta was still able to land cleanly and land big shots. He couldn't land that knockout blow, but he was still able to land cleanly on Lamont Roach at times, right? But when that's your most competitive fight, and then you basically retire and fight Jake Paul. Now, you'll be saying, well, he's not retired. But if you're a lightweight world champion who's active, and you're fighting Jake Paul at cruiserweight, you've got no interest in taking your career seriously as a guy who wants to unify the division. And you're sure as shit not interested in defending those lightweight titles either. Because you're fighting a cruiserweight in an exhibition fight. Okay? And the sort of payday that he's probably going to be getting is the sort of payday where you can retire off of. Not that Gervonta Davis is probably wanting for money, because he's been on big paydays for a long time. He's been one of the bigger names in the sport for the past 5, 6 years. 7 years. It's been one of the bigger pay-per-view names in the sport. So no doubt is no stranger to these big paydays, right? But this Jake Paul one will be like the ultimate payday. The payday of all paydays, right? And he'll probably retire off of that. And to be fair, who am I to judge? You know, he's had a very lucrative career fighting very, very few world-class opponents. Because I wouldn't say Ryan Garcia is world-class. Particularly the Ryan Garcia that we saw that night against Gervonta Davis as well. Pitbull, you could say, was world-class, even though is shown throughout, after that fight to be very limited in what he can do at a certain level, at world level. Like, there are guys like a Lamont Roach that would just soundly outbox Pitbull, in my opinion. So Lamont Roach and Pitbull, right? And he drew with Lamont Roach and won't rematch him. That's Gervonta Davis's career, really. So, is boxing, takes me back to our original point, is boxing dead? Might be, but if it is, Gervonta Davis, you're the murderer. So yeah, I'd be curious to know what you guys think. Do you think that boxing is dead? And if it is dead, do you think it's because of Gervonta Davis? Or do you think boxing's in a really good spot? I tend to think it's in a really good spot. And going forward, we should be really optimistic for the future. As long as we can keep Dana White's boxing thing at bay. And as soon as we can keep that at bay and make sure that doesn't like reach a super high level, super powerful level where they're like dictating world championship matches and all that. Like, let them chill. Let them do small local shows often. Let them pump them out. We'll watch them because I'll watch as much boxing as I can get. Especially if it's new guys, young guys, up and coming guys. I always love to watch that sort of stuff. But yeah, let me know what you think of the future of boxing. Another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.